Hello everyone. Thank you for joining me. Today we will discuss about feature strategy, how to prioritize the features for product, how to build them, and how to calculate the impact of the feature which is added into the product. Who am I? My name is Nasrullah. I have 20 years experience as a software engineer, team lead, product manager, and product head and CTO. I worked in multiple organizations in my career and deliver end-to-end best products into the market. So product strategy has the four major components, or you can say like the four areas which help us to build the product strategy. The major pillar is the feature strategy. The feature strategy main objective is to improve the ability to create and capture the value inside the product, and also how to evaluate the features and products for our product, and how to launch new features that enhance our product over the long term and get the value inside the business. The growth strategy mostly focus on maximizing the product and the existing the value proposition for that product, and the effective growth strategies connect acquisition, retention, and monetization. The growth through growth loops, mostly like we have inputs, action steps, what we made the actions on it, and what we got as a output. Product market fit expansion strategy mostly focus on adding the values in two ways. What are those two ways? One is the adapting product to the new complementary markets. And second one is the adding new complementary products to overcome saturation into the market. The last one is scaling. Like we have to invest on supporting our processes, infrastructure, and strategies that you can say like enables the previous three strategic layers: feature, growth, and product market. So feature can create values by the acquisition, acquiring the new users, and retention of the existing users, and monetization users, which can help us to build the and increase the revenue for our product. Feature strategy. Basically, evaluation of the feature or the achieving the feature product fit, that is a completely iterative process where we evaluate the performance of the each enhancement or the feature which we have built, and also we develop the new features from the dev sides, and then again evaluate performance after launch for that feature. So, and then this iterative process help us to achieve the feature best fit for your product. Source of insights, which help us to build the features, to prioritize the features, the strategic insights, that is the company vision, and what is the strategic goals of your organizations, and user insights, which are our users of our product, what are their comments, what are their feedbacks, and exactly what they are talking about our product, what they are more liking, what they are disliking, what they are looking forward. And data insights, the core data, will help us which are the areas needs to focus on. So here, if we talk about the qualitative evaluation, which will help us to get and hit the balls. So here, how many users is the feature designed to impact, which we are developing the feature? How does this feature add the value to the users? How does the feature add value to business? This evaluation must be performed before planning of that feature. And then we can see the user problem severity. In our last first video, we discuss about the user problems, yani how we can list them out. So these user problem severity will help us, like low disruption, like problems has easy workaround, we can easily quickly fix those problems. The second one is the moderate disruption, like here is the tough work, yani we need to do work hard to or spend the more resources on it to done it. And third one is the high disruption, no workarounds, prevent users experiencing values proposition. So we have to work on it like that way. And also we have to categorize our users. Like there are the three types of the users: the core users, users for whom your feature is designed to create the value. And the another one, adjacent users, the users who get some value from the feature which you are developing, but it is not designed for or defined for them. Non-adjacent users, non-users for this feature, which have the no impact, whether you create or not, or add or not the feature, no impact on it. So here the qualitative feature map, which is helping us, means like to map the target population and the user value and business value. So target population, target description, the qualitative description of what target segment your feature designed for, and the target size, like estimated number of active users of our targeted segment presents, which will be the exact target population or targeted number of users of our product, and which area of the business this feature will be the added. The user value, user problem description, the user problem that the feature solves, any user problem frequency, how often the user experience the problem the feature is designed to solve for that. And also the user problem severity, how important this feature is to target that specific users. Suppose if we are developing an application and they are the audience using the Apple Pay payment gateway, and Apple Pay is not implemented in our product. So how important this feature is to target the users. So as per my experience in one of the product, we means like measure the qualitative feature map. And the business value, the business impact, value added by feature to business, and strategic importance of the feature to product value proposition. So here, the feature pre-mortem, this mechanism is help us to build or to prioritize the feature, and then this will here the feature information will help us for these questions, like how does feature add value to product, what target segment or primary set of the users, how much confidence do we have in success of this feature, and how we will launch this feature. The outcome, what metrics or the KPIs indicates the success of this feature, what outcome are possible for feature performance, what would each outcome teach about the feature performance, what about the next steps after launch of the after each of the outcome, what would be our next step, what would be our next strategy. So here, developing new features. So pursue the test insights, pursue test internal and external outputs that leads to the feature idea. So you can get all those insights and assess the prioritization. Assess the feature prioritization to ensure the right feature have been prioritized. Suppose if there is some discount we want to launch, or some special things we will need to launch in our product on Christmas Eve or on Eid holidays or on Diwali or something, then how we will assess the prioritization of the feature. Sense check launch plan, like to help build a launch process that minimize cost and maximize the value of your product or the feature inside in it. Release new features, like how the feature release methods. There are the three methods you can use: experimental release, most viable feature release, phased release. So experimental release focus on experiments to validate the key assumptions in your feature to learn and shape it over time. And the MVF, the fully functioning variant of the feature, is released, but minimum viable feature or minimum functionality in order to validate the core value proposition of the feature. Phased release a more robust version of the product, which is broken down into the phases to allow feature to be released when it is ready. So these are the methods for feature release. And the ambiguity spectrum, yani here the experimental release, minimum viable feature release, phased release. So if you see here, the experimental release as the high ambiguous, what is the right feature to product? And the how do we build feature product right low ambiguity in the phased release. Like in the phased release, we will learn about all these experimental MVF and the phased release in depth. Like experimental release, like here, learn and shape the feature iteratively with user behavior. List all assumptions, and here we have to list down all the assumptions to believe in success of the feature, and then we need to identify those assumptions and turn them into the experiments that can validate by the users. And then we can refine the feature with every experimental outcome. This is experimental release. And here the experimental release, if we see like the validated learning build, here they clearly define the incremental experimentation leads to faster learning and deeper insight that write detail the specifications. Like identify your assumptions, reframe assumptions as a hypothesis, and then rank them as a as per importance. Design appropriate experiments, conduct the experiment, and synthesize the learning. So here the validated learning and build the minimum viable product experiment, measure with customer users, subjective and objective data, learn from it, better ideas, and then build, and then iteratively go with this. So here, what is the experiment? If we deeply talk about the experiment, in experiment, you are validating the business logic in spreadsheets. UI sketch on the papers, or the Figma user flows, or low no code prototype, or the POC, the purpose to validate the specific aspect of product, and anything that makes us learn to move forward. So here next is the Mvf release. So validate core user value proposition of feature using minimal establishment and functionality. So here, how you can achieve that? They minimize the number of platforms that feature built for, minimize the number of integrations that feature needs to be, minimize the design and engineering resources that's required for it. Here, the phased release, build the feature more fully as ambiguity is low and confidence is higher. Sorry. Building features more fully and ambiguity is the low and confidence is higher on the final state of the product. So here, how you can do for the simple features, fully building the feature and releasing it. For complex features or for top features, break down feature into the phases which can be released independently. So here, the evaluation of the feature, job is done successfully, how it is done, mark it, ranked it, means like this feature is developed very good way, very best way as per requirements. And here, you can calculate the retention score, means like active users of the product feature, the active target users, active adaptive users, and active retained users. So here you can calculate the score, the percentage of the retained users, and divided by percentage of satisfied users. So by that way, you can calculate the retention score of the user, and also here the mechanism for this, the evaluation of feature, that is really important, like calculate the retention score plot the retention score against the strategic importance, and then evaluate either its performance, poor, fair, good, great, and how our retention score, how the adding the value this feature in our business, something like that. And also the feature metrics can help us also to calculate it. And here you can say like that, here the retention score from low to high and the strategic importance low to high. So here if you see, our focus must be on the core features, that their performance must be high, strategic importance must be high. Those are our core features, our first priority, to make them retention score high, strategic importance high. The next one where we need to be the work on it, those are the liability features, which have the strategically very much highest important, but the retention score is very low on it. So liability features is another thing where we have to put our focus and prioritization and building the features for your product. So these were the feature strategy. I hope you guys enjoy this, and feel free to reach out to me and ask me the questions in comments. Thank you. See you again.